creating new templates, new soul blueprints. And for some of you, it may be really, really clear. It may be really super clear. You may be really in it. This may be catalyzing you into really fully seeing what you're stepping into. And for some of you, it may not be there completely, but you may be starting to see a little bit more clearly. You may be starting to understand what your role is, who you are as a human, what you're here to do, and how you can step more powerfully into your sovereignty. And that's okay. The process of realigning, of reconfiguring, of reassessing where we're at is something that takes time, and we really have to feel into it. And something I'm sure you're all getting used to the idea of is that the thinking and the figuring out aspects of us that are very quick to jump in and try and work things out, they take a lot of energy, and they have a really important role. And so it's really great to honor when those parts come up and we feel really in our head trying to work out and figure out where we're going next. It's really important to honor them as we've been sharing those techniques, and ask them if they would relax and allow our heart, which holds this incredible wisdom and technology, which knows who we are, what our role is, what our purpose is, for us to kind of be in our heart a little bit more, to flow into our heart a little bit more, to be able to listen to our heart's wisdom. And if we can do that, and we can allow the space and time for that, then we're going to be able to see more and more of our soul's blueprint, of our templates, the choices that we have, the different templates, and flow more into it. So I want to speak a little bit about the Red Skywalker energy. So Red Skywalker is very much about bridging heaven and earth and putting ourselves firmly as the pillars between heaven and earth. The pillars and the gatekeepers. So when our soul chose to come to planet Earth, to incarnate here, to have a role, to be a human, our soul did that knowing that Earth is a challenging training ground, and that training ground, this training ground, would help our soul expand to its fullest potential. And that's because here on Earth we have the extremes. We have the darkness and the light. We have the fear and the love. We have the struggle, the harsh realities of planet Earth. But we also have the beauty of nature. We have the freedom. We have bliss. We have joy. And these extreme ends means that our soul can expand and contract into these spaces to really feel, to know, to be, to understand what it is to experience the full spectrum of this existence, of these experiences of karma, of trauma, of joy, of bliss, all of this juicy, important, beautiful energies. And those experiences ultimately guide us as humans. And so when we feel into the Red Skywalker's role as a planetary server, as bridging heaven on earth, for me, I like to ask myself, how can we create heaven on earth? If this is what I'm here to do, as a Red Skywalker, which I am, I ask myself, well, how can I create heaven on earth? And this energy is a beautiful opportunity for all of yourselves to ask that question to yourselves. How can you create heaven on earth? And there are different ways. We could be talking about your body as a temple. So you're here on planet Earth and you have a human body, and we can start with ourselves. So our body is a temple. We can nourish it, we can clear its energies, we can show it love and compassion, we can activate and work with our DNA and all the other technologies that we have. We can find the peace, the serenity, the compassion, all of those beautiful, beautiful aspects of divinity within us. And first and foremost, we should do that. We should try it. And then we can think about creating heaven in other areas of our lives. So we can think about in our families or our friendship groups or our workplaces. We can think about how we can create heaven in these places. We can think about our own environments, our home, our gardens, our communities, our parks. These are very much an extension of our environments, and we have, of course, opportunities to create heaven utilizing these beautiful spaces and these beautiful little pieces of earth that are very much a part of us. We can also create heaven on earth in our cities and in our countries if we're involved in business, or we're involved in cleaning up our environment, or public policy, or creating creative content like films or art, or even just putting our energy out into these places, into these cities. There are people that I know who just sit and meditate for their country, for their city, for different events or political events or social events or atrocities that happen. And big or small, whether this is something we publicly advertise or something we just do within ourselves, we're all making an equal impact on the world. There isn't any hierarchy between what's better. We all have got a place. We all have a role to play. Okay? So, thinking about how you can create heaven and earth in your world is a really wonderful place to end this reconfiguration phase, but also to be tuning into as you move into integration, and as you then finish the course and you go into back to your life, and as you weave these teachings into your day-to-day life, you might want to just pick one thing that you'd like to inspire heavenly attributes into. You might want to get involved in litter picking in your local park, or you may want to put on an event, or you may want to just speak to somebody about it, but there could be something really beautiful that you could do. And it can be challenging, and we know that. We know that living on planet Earth is challenging, and as I mentioned, very much a part of this journey, the human's journey, is to experience challenges and to go through the motions, to feel the emotions, to work with our parts, to transcend into our highest potential. And so we like to see, Vicky and I, we talk about this a lot, we love to see challenges as opportunities to evolve. So being able to see if we're being triggered within a challenge, whether it's that we just feel it in our body, like there might be some discomfort, or we may be triggered to feel angry about something, or whatever it is. If we can identify that trigger and observe it and be like, oh, okay, I've been triggered. That is the starting point for us to move on from that trigger, okay? We can also work on our energy system. So when we're triggered and we can feel it in our body, we can feel that energy, we can do things to clear that energy, from meditation to yoga to using our intention. We've been working with some beautiful plants in this process, all of which are also helping to transmute energy. So bringing high vibe nutrients and plant medicines into our diet also helps us to cleanse and purify these stagnant energies that reside in us with the challenges. And there are beautiful plants that all help with different challenges or different aspects, different parts of us that we want to transmute. So the Sangata that we've been doing is such a beautiful way to clear energies within the system and really get into our heart space and be in our truth and power. So that's one example, but we have other medicines. There's mugwort, there's yarrow, there's blue lotus, there's cacao. The list goes on. So maybe start to tune in what some of your key challenges are and the challenges that you find yourself coming up against day-to-day life. There may be a particular theme that you see emerging, and if so, find the plant medicine to work with that's going to really suit you, okay? So following this process, Vicky and I will be on hand to answer any questions, and if anybody wants any more suggestions for different plants or nutrients to work with that can help to transmute energy, we're totally here to support you in that process. We can also work with the mind to help refine the mind and overcome these challenges, and hopefully you've been using some of your IFS tools and you can always come back to those, so please do. And then we can always drop into the heart, because the heart has all of the answers to all of the challenges that you have ever experienced and you will ever experience already there. So dropping down into the heart and really listening to the heart is something that I recommend that you all really start to move and expand into, working with the heart energy. So I'm going to share some heart opening practices later on in this process towards the end, but I will share one very easy brief meditation that you can do to be in your heart space and stay in your heart space and then tune in and listen to the wisdom of your heart. I'll do that at the end. So with the Skywalker energy and bridging heaven and earth, one of our gifts is that we can walk the skies. We can explore the cosmic realms. And we can also be a human on planet Earth. And ultimately, those are gifts that we all have. Whether you're a Red Skywalker or not, you can do this. You can be grounded here on planet Earth and you can explore the cosmic realms. And a challenge for us as Red Skywalkers is balance. Particularly for me, the challenge in my lifetime has been to really come into my feminine Shakti energy. I have had more of a dominance of masculine energy up till maybe a couple of years ago in my life. And you know, when I still feel a little bit of a pull and a dominance sometimes that way, but I feel like I've done so much work to come into my feminine power and really embody the feminine balance within me. And so that's not just in the way that I dress and look and speak, but it's also about the approach to life that I have, the approach to my relationships, my work. It's about having that balance of yin and yang in my work, in my practice, in my relationships, in my communications, and the world around me, my environment even. And so being a 3D human grounded on planet Earth and being a Skywalker in the cosmic realms asks us to also unite in the middle and to create this balance between those two fundamental aspects of us, of what we are. Because fundamentally we are made of the stars, we're made of the same material of nature and the cosmos. And we vibrate and resonate at those frequencies. We're able to tap into the cosmic realms. It is just an intrinsic technology within us. So as we're starting to clear and our antennas are picking up, we're starting to tune into what is going on in those other realms. This is also where we can tap into the wisdom of the ancestors. And so another thing that I could invite you to do is to go back to doing a little bit of dreaming and asking the ancestors to visit you and share their wisdom with you. Maybe calling the ancestors from the cosmic realms in a meditation or in a prayer or in an intention, and then dropping into your heart and waiting and listening for your answers or your guidance. Now, it may not be that you sit here and you do meditation and you ask for it to come in and it comes in straight away. It may be that you're shopping in Tesco's and you get a download, because that's how it works. We receive the wisdom, the answers, the questions, whatever it is, we receive it when we're ready. And sometimes things have to fall in place for our parts or for our body in order for us to really be in that place where we're fully able to receive that message. So this is where the work with the figuring out parts comes in, to really relax them so that they feel like, okay, it's okay. We'll practice and exercise a bit of patience, because this wisdom is going to come through the self energy really, really, really soon. So I also wanted to talk about Kundalini energy, and it's been something that I've been sharing with you all, and practices which were really, really super powerful, and I hope that you can keep going back to. But the importance of the Kundalini energy in this part of the process is to help us stabilize into who we are and where we are, and anchor this new sense of self and purpose and roles that we have, and anchor that firmly into our body. The Kundalini energy is a very intelligent energy, and it pings up and down that spinal fluid all the time. It's always activated, it's always working. It's just sometimes it's more powerful and sometimes it's a little bit more relaxed. And certainly when we do our practices and our exercises, it's firing away and it's sending that information around. But this is a way that we can really be stable and start to utilize that energy to seep into all of the different parts of us and the different energy fields in us, and to resonate the message, the code from our teachings, our wisdom, our intentions, whatever it is, embed those codes within our energy being, okay? Because we're like walking balls of energy, vibrating and spinning in our vortex. And this Kundalini energy helps to really stabilize and also expand our vortex and help us attract what we want to manifest. So what we put out, how stable our Kundalini energy is, if we have less leakages and so on, then we're able to have a strong, solid, protective vortex that's attracting in those very things that we are intending to attract. Okay, so the Kundalini root locks are super, super important to prevent the leakages in our energy system. So going back to practicing some of that is really, really important. Breath practices with the root lock, such as the ones that I shared with you, if you can just spend 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 minutes every day at the beginning of your day doing that when you wake up, it's just going to help tighten things up a little bit. So, yeah, I wanted to share one more thing about the ancestors. I feel to do a final video, which I haven't had, it's not on the video schedule, but I'd like to share with you my techniques that I've personally been working with to work with the ancestors and to clear ancestral trauma and inherited family trauma. And I'm going to do that at a later date because I just feel that something that I feel from my part is missing that I said that I wanted to do, and I feel could be part of like a moving on from the course, some practices that you can go away and do yourself. So stay tuned to that. So I'm going to leave you with the practice, the heart connecting practice, powerful practice. So I'm going to ask you to find a comfortable seated position and close your eyes and go inwards and just start to become aware of the breath. Just noticing how the breath flows in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just noticing if there are any sensations, any parts that just want your attention in this moment, any thoughts, anything at all. Just give it your attention, acknowledge that it's there. Just let it know that we're about to do a really little mini process to anchor us into our heart and to strengthen our sense of self. And that you'll go back to them when this process is over. So taking our hands now to our heart, our Anahata chakra, we're going to do the lotus mudra. So the lotus mudra, you're uniting the hands in this way with your thumbs together and your pinkies together, and you're opening like a basket, like a lotus at the heart. You're calling in the transcendental medicine of the lotus. And we're going to chant So Hum. I am that. And we're going to chant So Hum either out loud or silently in our mind's eye. And if we chant it out loud, then that's great. But just spend the final minute or a couple of minutes going inwards and chanting it within. So I'll do 1 minute to demonstrate, and then I will leave you to continue. So hum. So hum. So hum. So